you all for joining our webinar today. We are very excited to have you with us to discuss domain management today. We have with us Heidi Zhang. She leads our Markmonitor China Registrar office and is a vital part of our global industry relations team. Heidi's been in the domain industry since about 2012 when ICANN introduced their first round of new GTLDs. We also have with us Mariko Ebisawa, a senior domain portfolio advisor who has over 10 years of experience helping Markmonitor customers and clients with all of their domain portfolio needs, and Alison Li, a domain portfolio advisor with over 3 years of experience in the domain industry, helping clients with transfers, registrar compliance, and so much more to help them strengthen their global online presence. And so with that, I would like to go ahead and pass you off to Heidi to start today's webinar. Thank you, Heidi. Please take it away.
Thank you, Natalie. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy in this webinar. Before I dive in, I would like to share with you that this webinar is actually specially designed and scheduled for our APAC audience because we do hope that we can interact with you as much as possible. And please let us know what information or topic you would like to learn more about so that we can plan more webinars or content and do things better in the future. So today we are going to focus on domain management work. I understand managing domains is a task that requires knowledge, information, intelligence, and decisiveness. Sometimes it is a joint work across different teams, and it requires a quick decision a lot of times. So it is definitely not easy, especially when it comes to corporate portfolio management. So today we're going to share some experience, thoughts, and tactics, and hope it can make the work less challenging. I will go through the topics as domain registration facts, corporate domain management work, corporate registrar and retail registrar, challenges and suggestions in domain management. Okay, so Natalie, take us to the next slide, please. Okay, so here are the domain registration facts. So sometimes I do think that we are really lucky to be able to witness the booming of internet. In the past 30 years, the world has changed a lot by the internet. So a lot of things have moved from actual to virtual. There is a world in each of our mobile phones. Websites, apps, applets, they all made our lives much easier. But we should know that every click on the internet, there is a link working in behind. Even though you don't really see it, but there is a domain name supporting. So domain names are playing a critical role in keeping the internet running and running fast. And in the past 20 years, we have seen an average increase of 7 to 9% of the total registration number from 50 million to 370 million. With the fast growing and changing in the market, the domain registration and management work is getting more and more challenging. So right now, there are 20 active legacy TLDs, 255 live ccTLDs, 1,100 operating new GTLDs in the world. So each of them is running in a specific field or region that you may need it someday, especially for international companies when they need to land in different regions or expand their territory. It is almost impossible to know all the rules and requirements of all the requirements of the TLDs. Even though we can use the help of AI to gather a lot of information, but it always takes time, and we still need to verify because we cannot trust AI for everything. While learning, verifying, and trying, we are seeing domains registered by someone else, abuse and security incidents happening from time to time, which make the domain management work harder. Leave alone the corporate domain folio itself is complicated enough and is very consuming. So let's move to the next slide and have a look at the corporate domain name management in general. Okay, so here is the corporate domain management. I have divided into the components of the corporate domain portfolio and why it is so important and the features of corporate domains. So let's take a look and we will know how complex it is. So the portfolio usually contains the brand names, which is the most direct way, and it is very common to see. People often use these domain names as the entrance of their main website. Besides, the name of business lines and products are also registered, either to have a separate site or to be a landing page directing to the main site. With the business development and expansion, more and more new products, services, or acquired companies move into the portfolio family, and it will bring more trademark identical and related domains. Some companies also register industry terms as their domains. And why it is so important. So corporate domains play multiple roles in daily operation. Besides the main portal website, they can also be used as independent sites for subsidiaries, branches, or business lines. Domains are also supporting technical functions in behind, for example, caching or testing purposes. It is very common that quite some domains are used to forward to the main site for more traffic. We also see some themed marketing campaign using a very specific domain. That is very cool, and that is also very new. But we can see more and more companies are trying that. And so domains are supporting the business running in their own ways. But the company business is dynamic. It is growing and changing all the time. Every day we see new product launches, business expansions, mergers and acquisitions. All this involve domain registrations, transfers, and acquisitions. The domain management work should definitely align with the business by adjusting strategies so that to serve the organization better. This is why we can see clearly in daily work that which domain names are super important and stable, which are kept as substitutes, which are for testing, which are only for defensive. So different companies weigh differently in each category, but it is not hard to find out. And generally, they all have a strategy. To manage the entire portfolio domains is not an easy job. It's very complicated. It's evolving, changing. So following up with the company updates on one hand and deciding what to do with the domains on the other is really hard work. Even if the change and decisions can be made quickly, the actions of registering domain names or updating domain information always take time. And as we mentioned earlier, the rules and policies are so different across different TLD registries. And what's more, a registrar is definitely needed in this process. The registrar need to act in between the registrant and the registry. And this will lead us to our next slide, the corporate registrar and the retail registrar. Okay, so we all know registrars act in between. There are a big number of registrars in the world providing domain registration services. But today we're going to focus on the perspective of corporate companies. So let's see the two types of registrar. What are the differences? What the strengths and disadvantages they have in the domain management work? So let's see corporate registrar on the left. Corporate registrars are very focused on serving big companies and organizations exclusively. In order to do that, all the products, functions, even working process, and service levels are designed to keep up with the needs of those companies. Because companies, especially global companies, they may have business anywhere in the world, and their needs for the domains are also different. So corporate registrars strive to be able to have access to nearly all the live TLDs and provide reliable information source to make sure that the domain can be secured when it is needed by the company. Having the domain registered is only the basic and a start. Corporate registrar usually has a set of sophisticated process to make sure the domain name will be dealt with properly and managed well in the use. So, and in the meantime, corporate registrar will also provide a bunch of added value services for custom or customized services to meet the needs. For example, the masking or privacy services, etc. Because the added value in the service, the price of the corporate registrar is relatively higher than that of the retail registrar. And for the retail registrar, on the other hand, they operate a bit differently. Retail registrars usually focus on individuals, startups, or medium-sized companies. They often provide a portal for the end user to log in by themselves and take the actions. The number of TLDs that retail registrar provide vary a lot. Some of them only focus on several very popular TLDs, while some other registrars, they offer more. But the most popular ones are usually available because the profit lies in the price difference, and although it is minimal. And that is also the reason why retail registrar usually go for other business to seek more profit potentials. For example, the hosting services, web designing, mail services. So domain service acts only as the business generator with a real service somewhere else. And this makes the domain service of retail registrar limited to the basic. With all the complex and challenging circumstances, we totally understand it is not an easy work to manage the corporate portfolio. Today, I have two very experienced guests from Markmonitor. They are from the Domain Portfolio Advisor team. Both of them are very experienced with proved skills, successful experience with domain management work, transfers, and I will invite them to join me and to discuss and share. So I have listed out several challenges that the companies have in common, and let's start from there and let's see what their thoughts are and what suggestions they can give us. Okay. Oh, the first challenge is that I hear a lot people say when they do the domain management work in a company, they always say they don't really have enough knowledge about domains to support their daily work. They don't really know what is true, what is false, and what to do. So about this, I wonder if there is anything the two of you can share with us.
Yes, so that is very common question that I am asked from my clients. Many of our clients face similar situations. As Heidi said, domain is very complicated by itself, let alone the growing number of TLDs, changing rules, emerging new product. It is very hard to find a resolution. So I would suggest to be watchful about the possible upcoming needs of domains and plan ahead. So this will give you more time to get ready and make decisions. The other suggestion would be to find a reliable partner, because a reliable partner can provide the information you need and help you to take quick actions. And this shall lower the risks of missing important domains or useful information or intelligence and result in unexpected problems.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mariko. This is helpful. When it is lack of enough knowledge, it can be distracted, and a trusted partner can definitely provide guidelines, suggestions, and support. There is another very frequently asked question, and that is also very understandable. So sometimes even the domain managers, they know what to do, but they don't really know how. So Alison, can you comment a little bit on this one? How to, when they don't really have enough knowledge, what other methods there could be?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. So getting a reliable partner is definitely important, and corporate may also do things from their own perspective. You can plan your domain portfolio ahead by breaking into different tiers to reduce complexity. For example, you can split your target domains into 3 tiers. Tier 1 includes domains you must own, your .com, your main CCTLD. For example, if you are a Japanese local company, you would need to register .jp, .co.jp for sure. Another must-have is the industrial GTLD. For example, if you are a finance company, it would make sense to register .bank. These will definitely affect visibility, search, and paid traffic. And Tier 2 is for the defense, such as typos, IDNs, and language variants. You may want to consider to defensively register in high-risk regions, or you can simply apply blocking tools like DPML or Global Block to protect your brand without registering each domain names. Tier 3 would be there for you to monitor, not register. So new GLDs like .store, .stock, etc. can be risky, but they don't justify the registration unless there is a specific business need for such TLD. That's all.
Okay. Oh, so I guess, well, it's very clear the tier 1, 2, 3. This is like the different levels and of importance and use of the domain names. This is really helpful. I guess most of the companies are probably applying this solution or this method because it's really practical, and because we all want to focus to use our time, efforts, and costs in the tier 1 or tier 2 domain names, but we still want to keep an eye on the tier 3 ones. Oh, okay, this is really helpful. So there is another challenge that I hear most is about the money. It's all about money, money, and money. So Natalie, can you bring us to the next one, please? Yeah, budget. So a lot of times, even though the managers of domains, they know what to do, they want to do things, but because of the limited budget, kind of tied their hands. So I know this is difficult. This is very tricky, but I really want to know if you two can give any suggestion on this one.
Yes,
Mariko?
I'm happy to answer this one. So yes, it happens a lot. Like sometimes clients do want to register a batch of domains or take actions on some things. However, the cost can hold them back, especially with so many TLDs available. Only the defensive registration can be burdensome. It is a pity watching things happening and not doing things, and you have realized the risk. I would recommend some alternative options for situations like this. Blocking service is not new. Registries have also been trying to find a compromise between registration and right protection, such as DPML. Domain blocking service allow a brand or trademark holder to prevent others from registering domain names that match their brand or trademarks, protecting their brand and preventing potential cyber squatting. However, the blocking service used to be restricted to the same registry. It made the coverage of TLDs limited. Then efforts are made across registries. There are stronger blocking services now available to break the boundaries of registries to cover more number of TLDs. Global Block is a new unified domain blocking service offered by Brand Safety Alliance that was launched last year, which currently blocks about 670 TLDs, and it will continue to expand in coverage. Also, blocking is not as registering to actually hold domains. It can indeed get your target domains not available at much lower price than registration. So if you are struggling with the cost of defensive registration, it is a choice to compare the cost with the blocking service. Perhaps apply blocking service is much easier and costless than registering batch of domains.
Oh, okay. I can see there is an example, right? So let me see. It's a table comparing different options. I can see the first row is 100 domain names registering directly, because in that way you will cover only 100 TLDs, and the annual cost could be 10,000 US dollars. And with DPML, the blocking services, so the TLD coverage could be over 300, but the annual cost went down to 1,000 and a half. With Global Block, the TLD coverage definitely expanded. And the annual cost is, let me see, 6,000 and a half? 6,000 and a half. I guess this definitely provides us a different way of thinking. So when you want to do a bunch of defensive registration, it doesn't really harm to do the calculation and the math and to see which way is the most cost effective and can save money for some other things, right? This can be a smart way. Okay, this is interesting. Alison, do you have anything else that you can share? Something helpful?
Yes, I have another tool to introduce that is the watching service. So Domain Watch is a monitoring service that tracks newly registered or updated domain names for specific keywords. Usually it can be your brand name, your trademark, or other high-value terms. You can quickly spot potential infringements or threats. Sometimes it is hard to decide if it is necessary to have defensive registration or use blocking service. It's absolutely okay to have a wait and see attitude. But the key is that when you wait, you will have to see. A watching service provides a channel to peek what is going on in the domain world with your brand and trademarks. It is interesting to watch the change of data and get the trends and findings. And based on these, you can decide better what actions are needed. It can also provide guidelines to adjust and improve the overall domain strategy.
Okay. Okay. Domain Watch. So, okay. So Mariko and Alison, they introduced different tools. Let me say, they are not domain registrations. They are tools in the sector that we can use. So registration is not the only way. It is the direct way, but that is definitely not the only way to protect domain names. There are other options and for different situations and problems. I hear blocking, and watching services, right? But what if the domain name, the target domain name, is already registered? So I guess in that case, either blocking or watching will not help that much. So what about this problem? What if your target domain name is already taken? Is there anything can be done?
Yes, let's move on to the next slide, shall we?
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite a common question. So most domains follow first come, first serve principle. It's not rare to find the domains you want is already registered. I guess it really depends on how much you want it back and also how quickly. You can search the who is of the domain first and try to get some detailed information, such as the historical registrant, the expiry date of the domain. If the expiry date is very close and there is no rush for you to get it, you can just wait and see if the domain name can be soon available through back order. If not, or you are in a rush to get the domain, probably it is a good idea to start communication and try to acquire the domain.
Yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, it totally makes sense. But what about, so some of the domain names are registered, they are just registered and left there without use. So we can definitely go through your approaches, as Alison mentioned, either wait and see and place the back order, or we can just acquire directly. So, but what if the domain name is registered and is being used in bad faith? So what can the brand owners do with that? Mariko, can you
Yeah,
share
sure.
something?
Yeah, it is a different situation if the domain is registered and used in bad faith, such as infringement. You can reach out to the registrar or domain holder to complain and demand a cessation of infringement. The most effective complete way would be domain dispute resolution. It can ascertain the infringement and make it stop. For example, by going through UDLP, you can even get the domain back to your ownership. Of course, there is cost to apply domain dispute, such as URS or UDLP. Also, as the complainant, you are responsible to provide the proof. So there is a certain amount of work and effort required for the domain dispute. However, generally speaking, proactively prevention in advance are always better and easier than remedies afterwards.
Oh, that's very well said. Proactively prevention in advance are always better and easier than remedies afterwards. That is so true. Yeah, so I have learned so much today. I guess domain management work is not only about looking for new domain names and get them registered. It's more about management. Management includes maintain the existing domain names well, and on the other hand, watch what is going on in the world to make sure that the portfolio is complete and secure, right? So thank you. Thanks the two of you sharing the knowledge and experience you have and give us the advice. So I guess we have some time so that we can open the floor to the audience and see if they have any questions. I would like to remind people that in this webinar, you can ask your questions in either English or Chinese or Japanese, because Mariko is Japanese speaking, Alison and I are Chinese speaking, so we will pick up your questions accordingly. No worries, just bring them on. Set the questions you want to hear the answer, okay? Let me see. Oh, I see your question. Is UDRP available for all domain names everywhere in the world? Okay. Is UDRP available for all the domain names everywhere in the world? Okay. Who wants to pick that question?
I can shortly answer this question. So UDRP is generally for generic TLDs. So for example, .com, .net, they can use UDRP. But for CCTLDs, usually the dispute resolution is different. It's country it varies from country to country. So you will have to look into the dispute resolution guidelines on the registry website. So UDRP is not for global-wise use.
Okay. Okay. So UDRP is mainly for generic TLDs.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Alison. I see we have another one. Can you share the update of next round of new GTLD? Okay, next round of new GTLDs. Okay, I will take this one. As far as I know, the public comment for AGB, the applicant guideline book, was completed last month, I remember. So the next round of new GTLD is expected to open next year in April. So that leaves only 6 months to go. If you really want to participate in this round, you should have, been prepared, or you really need to start very quickly because the time is very limited. Markmonitor, we are going to have a webinar for our APAC audience again to talk about all the details of the next round, about the policies, process, and the cost. So please stay tuned, and we will have another webinar about this. So I guess, let me see if we have any other questions. I guess we still have time for another question. How long does it take to transfer domains from a retail registrar to a corporate registrar? Okay, I guess DPA can answer this question.
Okay, let me take that question. So how long does it take to transfer domain from retail registrar to corporate registrar? Is that question correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yes.
It depends on the TLD, of course, and it depends on how quickly the auth code or required information can be provided by the retail registrar. Actually, the corporate registrar can take actions very quickly and cooperate with the brand owner to do the actual transfer. For example, some very important domain needs transferring at nighttime so that the transfer may not affect to use.
Okay, well, that's very clear. Thank you, Mariko. Yeah, so I just want to say something else. Well, we don't really have any questions in the line. So for the audience, if there is any topic or things that you are interested, please leave them in the chat so that we can look into that and make our future plans. It's totally okay. Okay, let's give it another 1 or 2 minutes to see if we still have other questions. Let me see. Okay. Well, I guess there is no more questions. Thank you too for doing this webinar together with me. And it's really helpful because domain management work is very complicated. So for the audience, if you have any questions or problems that you want some advice, reach out to our team and get the help from your partners. Yeah, let us know what we can help you. What would be a good strategy for companies who want to spend out the mess? I saw something in the chat. What would be a good strategy for companies who want to expand out of the domestic market for the first time? What would be a good strategy for companies who want to expand out of the domestic market for the first time? Well, I guess that's a very big question. So for companies, they want to move out to the rest part of the world. I guess there will be a lot of investigations. We only speak for domain, okay? We focus on domain work. So I guess still there will be a lot of investigation work because you need to see which parts or regions are your targets, and then you need to focus on those parts of the CCTLD registry's policies are like, and can you get a domain name in that region and as a landing page, as an entrance. So I guess there will be a lot of evaluation work as well. For example, which TLDs or CCTLDs are available, which of them are already taken. And if step 2, if you really want to register, what documents or information or materials the company need to get ready for. And then just find the right partners to get the domain names registered. Because if you are going to move to various of regions, probably one registrar cannot do the whole work. So probably you need to find a right partner. Is there anything else, Alison or Mariko, you want to add?
No, I'm okay.
No, not really. I think you have summed up very clearly.
Okay. I hope I answered the question. All right. I will, if there's nothing else, I will give it back to Natalie.
Hi, everyone. Just want to take a minute to say thank you again for joining us today for this webinar on domain management. And as Heidi said, if you have any other questions, if you'd like to discuss anything specific to your business or domain portfolio, we are here to help. We have a dedicated team in APAC. As Heidi mentioned, she and Alison are located in China, Mariko's in Japan, and we have other domain portfolio advisors who are here to help with your specific situations. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you again and take care. Goodbye.